Hey girl, hey, this is your host Tracy Chanel of the Hey Girl, Hey podcast, and I'm back. But today I have a special guest with me, someone I consider a friend. We connected right away. I stepped into her place of business, Miss Diane Gray, the owner of Flowing Rivers IV Hydration Therapy. So happy to have her here today, giving me the opportunity to introduce her. And so I'll go ahead and let her get a little more personal to let you know about her business and her mission statement. So again, Diane, thank you for having me. I'm super excited for our listeners to hear all about not just your business and what you offer, but you as a person and how we connected.
Thank you, Tracy, and I really thank you for having me and inviting me to even come on your podcast. So when I first saw the word "Hey Girl, Hey," I was like, okay, this sounds like something I want to be a part of. So when you asked me, about coming on your podcast, I was very excited, very excited. Flowing Rivers has been around since 20 January 2022. I'm a registered nurse. I've been a registered nurse for 35 years. I worked the front line for the entire 2 great years of COVID, which was definitely traumatic and um, it was just traumatic for the world, basically. And this is something that I thought could help people. I know it helped me on a personal level. IV hydration is basically just what it says, IV. When you go to the hospital, you're feeling sick, they put a needle in your arm and give you fluid. For most people who don't know that, but that's just what it is. And during COVID, there were not a lot of things that they knew to cure COVID. And we lost many, many people, many loved ones. That was so unfortunate. But us nurses who were on the front line, we really had nothing to protect us except uh, personal protective equipment, like your booties and your uh, bunny suit, your goggles, your mask, face shield. But we knew that wasn't enough.
Mm-hmm.
And we watched what the doctors did.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter what underlying illness or comorbidity that the patient might have, the doctors were giving everybody basically the same dose of vitamins.
Mm-hmm.
And what they were trying to do, because of course COVID was a virus. Viruses most of the time run their course, and then the body does what it do and kill itself. But a lot of people were already so ill because they did not know what they had, that they came to the hospital too late. And those were those first ones that you were hearing about, the many, many, many deaths. So we started getting our own drip from a company in New York City. When I say frontline, I really mean frontline. Like, we're in the middle of Manhattan, and we serve the five boroughs. And we had to work 45 days before we got there off. So once we did, and even during, they would come to our hotel and they would give us vitamins, IV, hydration drip. And I know I was getting mine personally. I can speak for myself. I was getting it once a week. Once a week, it did me no harm. I felt rejuvenated, revived. Once I started getting them, and I have not stopped since. We think we drink enough water, but we don't. So the hydration alone, even without the vitamins, is just overwhelming. That it makes your body feel so good and refreshed. Afterwards, it feels like you've just taken a shower on the inside. And that's the way I can explain it. It makes sense to me. And, our mission statement is to provide our clients with customized IV vitamin therapy that support overall health, wellness, and beauty. And that, to me, sums it up.
Wow. Yeah, Miss Diane shared her story with me and actually how it came about. I knew or I was made aware of the IV hydration therapy back in Japan before I returned back to the US. And I was just driving through my neighborhood, just seeing how things had changed. And I saw the sign. It was visible from the road, and I had to come and find out what it was all about. And her, I guess, studio, we call it your
Center,
your center.
office,
Yes,
clinic.
yes. Well, I wish you all could see it. It is beautiful, very welcoming, very personable. The aromatherapy is right on point, connecting with my senses. So I love every part of that. And we just became very personal in our conversation. I was explaining to her what I was looking for, and she thoroughly explained or gave me information on what I might need. Hence, I came back with the next day, maybe, or 2 days later.
She came back
The next day, yeah.
I was really shocked, because a lot of people will stop in
Mm-hmm.
and then, they'll look, if they're not sure what something is,
Yeah.
They tend to stay away from it.
Mm.
But I can guarantee you and tell you it is safe. It is something safe that you can do to your body. The vitamins that I put in your drip are already vitamins that are in your body, but you're depleted of them.
Yeah.
And you don't really know that you're depleted of them just so you feel bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And, after having a conversation, which I like to do, people who know me, I like to talk. So
me too, girl.
I love having conversations because I want to know more about you. I want to know what's bothering you and trying to get to the root cause of what causing you to really, feel bad and not feel like your normal self.
Yeah, and absolutely. Diane asked me what I needed. I wasn't really sure. I knew that I possibly had a vitamin D deficiency, and she took care of me. I felt good. Of course, when I came here, I felt good when I left. And one thing you did say is that I probably would not need a nap. So I have to let you know I did eventually take a nap, but I counted to being jet lagged. Okay. So
did you go right away?
No.
Or did you stay up longer than the norm?
Definitely longer than the norm because I'm an 8 o'clock p.m. girl.
Okay.
And so I think I was probably up till midnight. I went to bed, but even when I woke up, I wasn't drained. I still felt refreshed as though I had gotten my 8 hours. And because I think I was actually up around 6 a.m. and I still felt refreshed, revived. So, and like I said, I knew just a little bit about the IV hydration therapy from friends that had experienced it. I hadn't experienced it myself. And in our conversation, we started talking about wellness, what I was looking for. You shared with me some things that you do, the ways you have helped other people, and then with your background as a nurse, which was very insightful. So my question is, clients that come in for the IV hydration therapy, if it's okay, what were some of the elements or concerns that they had, and how did the hydration IV therapy help them?
So we actually have a menu with several different types of grip, but everybody's not made the same. Regardless, your headache is not my headache. What's causing your headache might not be causing my headache. So I have to dig a little bit sometimes to get things out of them. They might be hypertensive. They could have just been out in the sun all day working in the yard. Just different things. So once I determine what may or may not be causing their headache, we can do a custom drip. Mm-hmm. But I'll just read off some of the drips that we do offer, and that is for dehydration. We get a lot of that, especially now that it's summer here in Atlanta and in Georgia, period. We know it gets very hot here. So dehydration is a biggie. And like I said before, we think we drink enough water. We don't. We don't. If you're not drinking 64 ounces of water a day, you're not getting enough. And when you add on, you drink 2 sodas, a cup of coffee, and God knows whatever else, a monster drink, you have to drink just that much water to flush your system of those things. We offer menstrual relief, energy, athletic and fitness recovery, hangover recovery, post-surgical recovery, immune boost, again, the migraine relief, a super immune boost, stomach flu or just any type of stomach bug or virus, beauty and skin. Who doesn't want to look pretty, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, a lot of people, believe it or not, they will pay so much money to look beautiful on the outside when they're dying on the inside and don't even know it.
Wow. Wow. Yeah.
So, you know, so I try to dig deeper. Hangover recovery is a big one. And a lot of people come in also for weight loss. And you would not know that the proper hydration plays a big part in weight loss. So we're losing or gaining. Hydration is it. You know, our bodies are at least 95% made up of water. So those are, you know, some of the drips.
Great. So with that being said, you and I, when we had we met and had conversation, we started talking really also about women, how important it is that we take care of ourselves. And like you mentioned, yes, we want to look beautiful and put together on the outside. Oftentimes we neglect the inside and then we have these issues. And oftentimes that can impact our self-esteem, how motivated we are, how sometimes our success, because we will either be driven to pursue what it is we want or not based on how we feel about ourselves. So can we talk a little bit about maybe women that have come in and you have explained to them that the IV hydration therapy is something that they do need to work for their bodies inside out?
Absolutely. A lot of women come, they know they feel bad, and men as well. They know they feel bad, but they don't know why they feel bad. Mm-hmm. And as always, again, and you'll probably hear me say it over and over and over, a conversation has to be had. Mm-hmm. You know, and I think that's why we click so well when we talked. Mm-hmm. We talked about things. You know, once that conversation is had, 35 years, critical care, emergency room, you name it, I've done it. And a lot of times you can pinpoint some things that's going on with someone, even if they don't admit to it or just come out and say it. Mm-hmm. You can kind of pick up on what's really going on. Mm-hmm. What's really going on. And believe it or not, I get a lot of patients that have depression and don't know why. They might have no libido and not know why. And a lot of it is because they're vitamin deficient in some way. Not just for the hydration part of it, but they have some type of vitamin deficiency, or the doctors haven't ran the labs that needs to be ran that it should be picked up on. And it's not that they don't want to do it. And it's sad to say, but true. They only can do what the insurance company allows them to do based on whatever the insurance that person holds.
Yeah, I know when I think about my own personal journey, and I can't remember if I shared this with you, I kind of did my own research on what vitamins or supplements I may need, and even sharing what I was doing, what supplements I was taking, and you were able to give me some guidance on. Oftentimes, certain vitamins don't give you everything you need, and then you directed me to a certain brand as well. And that just makes me think about women and men as well, but women, because we are women, how I believe we genuinely have a desire to be healthy and to be whole. And they're just sometimes the weight of life, whether it's a marriage, a relationship, children, parents, work, it can deplete us, which I have been there where I just felt depleted. Maybe it's because we're not moving our bodies enough. Maybe, like you said, well, not maybe, but if you're not drinking enough water, you're going to feel the negative effects of that. And being healthy is more than just getting in the gym. Being healthy is more than doing a 5 mile walk. Like you said earlier, being able to be healthy in the inside so that it radiates on the outside. And as I've gotten, I want to say older, but more mature, more seasoned, and wiser, I reflect on, I want to, no matter what my age, I want to look healthy. I want to feel healthy. I want to be able to be mobile and move my body and be in my right mind and be able to have conversations and articulate my thoughts. And it takes a lot if we, like you said, maybe we don't have the resources. Maybe insurance won't cover the things that we need. It's so important to be able to tap in, either to connect with a person or know how to tap into where to find the resources so that we can do what we can best for ourselves. Which I love that you and I are able to sit here and have this conversation, because it's also about connecting women. And then I'm not excluding you, but me and Miss Diane are having this conversation. Women, we need to connect. We are social human beings. God did not put us on this earth to be isolated, to be alone, but to be social, to make connections. And when we have that opportunity, oftentimes if you can connect with someone, you can ask questions, you can create a safe space where maybe you felt like you were alone, no one else would understand the challenges that you are going through. And if we can create a safe space so that we can help each other, share resources, materials, give some guidance, give some wisdom, what are your thoughts on maybe just navigating life in that manner, or where you are in life now compared to where you were, let's say, 10 years ago?
So I agree with everything you said. We do need to share more.
Mm-hmm.
We need to share more. Because I guarantee you, if you're going through it, there's another woman out there that has been through it, going through it, or will go through it. And so sharing that knowledge and wisdom of what you learned when you went through it will help somebody else. And maybe it won't be so hard. And we as women, for whatever the reason, we don't like to share because we're scared that people will judge us or we'll be, it's embarrassing. But that's not the truth. Probably you're the only one thinking that. Somebody else will probably be grateful for that little bit of wisdom that you shared with them, or that correct resource that you shared with them and pointed them in the right direction. And I do a lot of that. I do a lot of that with Flowing Rivers IV Hydration as well. We have to be our keeper.
I love that.
Yeah. And I don't know why so many women, instead of pulling each other up, they're tearing each other down. Yeah. Don't be afraid to straighten your sister's crown, as the t-shirt say. But even though it might be on the t-shirt, it has so much meaning, and we need to start putting that meaning into action and share more.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Especially the part where we could be going through something as individuals, but maybe out of shame or embarrassment or fear of being judged, we don't speak up. And I just kind of took a deep breath because I know people that are in that space right now, and sometimes my heart just kind of aches because there are times I want to say something, but also want to be respectful, or sometimes it's about timing. Is this the right time for the person to receive what it is I feel in my heart I should share with them? But then I'm torn between, the cliche that we say life is short. You never know. If you don't say anything now, when will you have the moment to say something? Maybe your words could save a life. Maybe your words could uplift and encourage. And I believe for women, this is our season to flourish, to grow, to heal.
And not to cut you off,
I'm not good.
I think it's a lot because of what we saw growing up. Our mother, our aunt, our grandmother, they held everything in. They held down the fort. They just kept quiet. We didn't know what they were going through. We didn't know they were having a bad day. But clothes were washed, the house was clean, dinner was on the table. They played so many roles. And some mothers and grandmothers had full-time jobs. But things got done. Things got done. And we saw them be strong women. And we felt that we needed to be that woman. Ooh. That strong woman.
Yeah. No, we don't have to. You're right.
It's okay to just let your guard down.
Yeah.
And share what you're feeling, because stress, it used to be cancer or hypertension, these silent killers. Stress is now in the top 5 of being one of the top killers of women, and especially women of color. Because we try to carry the world and the weight of the world.
Yeah. And with you saying that, I think I have heard people say to me when I was going through something, and they'll say, well, you're strong. You're a strong woman. And I heard it, but in the inside, I wasn't. I just wanted to, and I tried to live up to it. And like you were saying, I totally agree about how we saw our mothers, our grandmothers, our great grandmothers still maintain. Dinner was cooked, laundry was done. But how many times how many times have you met a woman and she said, I can't hold it together? I know women that have judged other women because their house wasn't clean. And I'm guilty of that. I would do that. But as I have matured, like you said, you never know what someone is going through and why they can't maintain their home, why they can't have dinner ready, and because they need help. They need help. They need the connection. And it took a while for me to confess, to speak out that me on my own, I'm not that strong. I'm strong in God. I'm strong in His strength. Yes.
That part.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that earlier. You said, how do you know when it's okay to share or give advice to someone you see that's hurting or need it, or you feel that they need the advice? And then not just if it's the right time, would they be receptive to it
at that moment? All? Yeah.
But that's when we have to trust God to show us. And a lot of times when you see it, at that moment when you see it and you feel it in your spirit that, oh, I could share the story with her, and maybe it'll help her. Yeah. You know, most of the time that's God. That's the Holy Spirit speaking to your soul and your being. Yeah. Okay, it's okay to share. And I've been in predicaments like that, and I was like, okay, should I share or should I say something or should I mind my business? Right. But I stopped doing that, and you know, and I would share, and I felt like it was, you know, the Holy Spirit. Yeah. 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 To help that person, because like you said, you never know what someone is going through. Yeah. You don't know why their house is not clean. You know, and back in the day and still today, yeah, people will talk about someone with a dirty house. Yeah. They're being judged. Yeah. But you know what? When life is lifing, sometimes it takes all they can to get out of bed. Yes. Yes. Yeah. I know I had a season where I was depressed. I didn't even know I was depressed. And it wasn't until I was coming out of it that I discovered, yeah, I was, because I was sleeping a lot. Normally, I am an early riser. I just couldn't get out of the bed. A lot was going on. Life was lifing. And I remember going to work. Well, I'm just going to be real. It was happening during my separation and divorce. And it was a struggle to get out of the bed. And I could not get to work on time. I didn't really share with anyone at work what was going on, but I remember my principal was at the door and she said, "Oh, you decided to make it today." And I just kind of nodded and apologized for being late. And that comment right there, it could have really broke me. But I never forgot her saying that, because I would always think, if she only knew what it took for me to get out of the bed and to drive here and to be present for my students, I think her comment would have been different, you know. But even during that time, and people were saying, you got this, you can do it, you're strong, you're going to make it through, I didn't feel like I would. I really did not. Everyone's experience with their marriage or relationship, if you're going through a divorce or a separation, everyone's experience is different. It impacts us differently. And not that I didn't have people in my tribe that were there to support me. And I had some girlfriends, they had to hear the butt of what I was going through. And bless their heart, they listened to the same story again and again, which I give them their flowers and thank them constantly for being there for me. But I imagine if I didn't have anyone to talk to, anyone to pour out to. And yes, people say, you should talk to God. I did. I talked to God nonstop. There's something about having a person that is willing to hear, allow you to pour your heart out, allow you to say the things that you need to say. Because I could smile on the inside. On the outside. I can have myself put together on the outside. Hair can be done, makeup, all of that. And it may appear that I'm good. But I was fortunate enough to have people to talk to. But for the women that don't, for the women that are going through it,
yes, these are now you talk about kind of in the spiritual realm, you talk about emotional and mental and how all of that impacts the physical part and not just on the outside, but internally. And they were always looking for the right, that one thing or that thing to help us keep it all together, you know? So I know we started talking about the IV hydration therapy, which I think is key, like you said, working on from the inside out. But it's really the whole package for us as people, as human beings. It doesn't just start in with the physical aspect of it. It doesn't just start in with the outer part, but really mind, body, and soul. So yeah.
Everything that you said, I'm, you know, grateful that you shared about your struggle that you went through, that you were depressed and didn't even know you were depressed.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so many people out there that are probably going through that same thing right now. And then that hard, separation, being with someone that you think is your soulmate and that you're going to get old together,
Mm-hmm.
Grow old together. And then that didn't come true.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. It's heavy.
That's very heavy.
Yeah.
So, and some people don't have that sisterhood to be there to listen to those same stories
Yeah.
over and over again, or even to know if that person eating, um, are they sleeping, you know, they probably definitely aren't thinking about drinking enough fluid.
And that part, exactly.
That's like last on their list.
Yeah.
And that's when, we give that little nudge,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good.
let them know, how can I help?
Yeah.
How can I help? Sometimes
Yeah.
that's all it takes.
That's all it
to break
takes.
the ice.
Yeah.
And they will open up. And so with Flowing Rivers IV hydration therapy, I get to have a lot of conversations.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I have people that cry, and it wasn't necessarily the IV fluids that they needed. They needed someone to
connect. Yeah.
And me as a nurse, we do therapy. We do the medicine side of it, and there's so many hats to wear being a nurse because you're with the patient at least for your shift.
Yeah.
Your entire shift, you're definitely with, based on where you're working, based on how many patients you will have. But those patients, you're with them your entire shift. And you have to know what's going on. You start to get to the point where you can read a blood pressure or a pulse and know that it's something else going on that might not just be the physical. It could be the mental.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And,
yeah.
Or like I said earlier as well, that vitamin deficiency, that's causing them to be depressed. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
And with my practice, I hope and pray that God is sending those people to me that really need my help and that I can help them.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. Especially when you were saying you get customers that come in for the hydration, but they really just need someone to talk to, and that just, my mom was just sharing the other day. She had an epiphany and she said, I was just thinking about the power of words, just how words have power. And we were in our conversation just saying, yes, words have power. God's word tells us that life and death are in the power of the tongue, but conversations have power. just conversations. Conversations are life. They can encourage you. They can lift you up. If it's not the right conversation, it can break you down. you know. So with all of that, the power of words and conversation. And I mean, what a blessing that you are right here in the community where there are other businesses, people walk by, they see your business, your sign, where they can come in and ask you questions. And, um, you can talk about what Flowing Rivers is, and they can make the choice to say, hey, this is what I need, or I didn't know I needed that, so let me give it a try. So I love, aside just from Flowing Rivers, everything about it. I might be a little biased, but I love that it's right here in the community. So,
Absolutely, and for coming in and finding out what was going on, even though you knew what hydration was, but you also knew it was something important, important that you needed for yourself.
yeah, absolutely. Yes, and I'm spreading the word. So before we close up again, I just want to say thank you for the opportunity for us to sit down and have conversation um, about Flowing Rivers, about life, about health, about your mission for Flowing Rivers. Again, servicing the community. If there is one nugget you could share with our listeners about health and wellness, what might that be?
Don't take your health for granted. If you think something's wrong or just don't feel right, seek help. Seek help. Not only am I'm here, Flowing Rivers, but go to your PCP, your family doctor. Talk to someone, and especially if you feel like you're feeling bad but don't know why, because mental illness is definitely on the rise. And so that nugget I want to spread across the world. We have to get a handle on mental illness. And a lot of times mental illness starts with your physical. So take it serious. Don't think, oh, it'll blow over. It's nothing. Well, look into it. Find out that it's nothing. Don't just let it go. Don't ignore it. Okay? We only get one life to live.
Yeah.
And live it to the fullest.
Mm-hmm.
And be happy.
Yeah. And be at peace. Find your peace. Yes, I think I'll probably say this to so many people, but I think in our conversation we were saying the cost of peace is expensive.
Absolutely.
Yeah, too expensive. Yes.
Cause me my peace. You are too expensive.
Too expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have this plaque on my dresser, and it says, "Find what makes you happy and go there." Take that to heart. Take that to heart, because if something is stealing your peace or stealing your joy, it's not for you.
Yeah.
It's not for you. So, you know, I thank Tracy for having me, and I'm hoping to be invited back again.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes, absolutely. I will be back in for more IV hydration therapy. But for my listeners, especially if you are in the Atlanta area, also here in Henry County, check out Miss Diane Gray at flowingrivers.info. And I'll spell it out for you. FLOWINGRIVERS.info. So Flowing Rivers Info. Don't be afraid, or if you have any questions about the IV hydration therapy, please go to her website, reach out to her, or find one in your local area where you can be hydrated from the inside out. So again, hey girl, hey, thanks for listening in on our podcast session, and we will be listening again soon.